just, you know, networks itself, the way the business has changed. I mean, like where you could, especially in the pandemic, it's like you have shows where it's almost where like even the newer shows, you get invested into a show and then all of a sudden it's gone. And to me, a lot of times even shows that are even like, you know, where they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars promoting a show, and then it airs, and if it doesn't hit that like audience market by like the second or third episode, they're gone. And to me, it's like, isn't the art of storytelling to take people on a ride, on a journey, not a fast race of just consistent, like, let's just throw something in your face and hope it works. To me, it's like if you're gonna have a show that you're, especially like, for example, like, you know, Y&R, which to me, as I said, has that element of a primetime feel. You should never, as you say, like, throw away your best tools, because this is a show that literally could be your bread and butter for another 40 years.
Well, if you take a step back just a little further and you look at very successful filmmakers like George Lucas, for example, or Steven Spielberg, or who's that? The quirky filmmaker. I'm blanking on his name. A long time ago in Hollywood, his name is
Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantino. All these guys were fans first, so they knew what they were doing because they were so familiar with the genre and the shows that they loved and grew up on, and so when they became who they are, it was a continuation of their passion. Mm-hmm. And I think most of daytime is being run by corporate executives that you know, they've studied communications, and you know, they weren't. I don't think they could sit down and make a television show without the creatives. So a lot of choices that are made are not ones that benefit storytelling, but are the bottom line, or they're bean counting, or they don't get the difference.
Would you ever see yourself directing?
Yeah, I think I would enjoy that. I enjoy working with actors, and I would, like I said, when I was a kid, I was a fan too. So a lot of the things that I see happen now just don't make sense to me. You know, and it is tough to do it daily, but we did.
True.
We did it.
And you wouldn't have been lasted this long if you weren't doing something right.
Yeah.
So it's not a mood subject, but you know, we lost a brother, Christoph, who I miss dearly. The last time I had seen you was at his memorial. How has that been, that hole now in the halls without him?
I miss him every day.
Sure.
It is incredibly painful for me to talk about, because he had some very difficult personal things happen in his life, and it made it very hard to overcome. But you know, he was an exceptional human being, and he was just an incredible friend.
To me, I can't tell you, Doug, how many times that man pulled me out of the gutter. How many times he saved my life when I was going through some of the worst moments that I've ever had to encounter. And I always used to say to Christoph, I'm like, you know, when it came to, I guess you would say, answering the phone. Christoph was the worst in the sense of keeping in touch sometimes with people when he would go off on his tangents. But he somehow, I always told him, I said, you're like Batman. Because it was like, whenever I was going through something, if I hadn't spoken to him in a week, or like 2 weeks had gone by and we hadn't spoken on the phone, he always knew when to call. He always knew when to be there at that moment. And for me, it's been such a struggle, you know, because as I said, I miss him every single day. I think about him all the time. And, you know, I really wish, you know, even for me, and I knew that, number one, the demons that he faced, and you know that as well, you just felt so paralyzed. You felt so helpless because there was so much you wanted to do. But it's like, you know you can't fix a pain like that. You know you can't fix something so tragic of when he, you know, lost his son. And to me, I've always just sort of said, you know, like, somehow, somewhere, his light is still shining. Because it's the only thing that keeps me going every day. And I feel like, you know what, when I watch you, and I watch Josh, and I watch Sharon, I still carry that peace in my heart watching it through you guys, where he's still present.
There are sites on Instagram that I can't look at all the time because it's overwhelming. But there's one that puts up scenes and his human videos and things with his dog, and it's just a reminder of really what a bright star, and I mean that in the human being sense, that he was. He was quite a guy. And there was a quote that I read in his memorial show. I think it's posted on my Instagram somewhere, but it talks about how a creative soul like he was is incredibly sensitive, and a pinprick is a gash to someone like Christoph. So the things that he had to face were, even
monumental,
looking at it critically, were insurmountable. I mean, the loss of a child is something that I can't imagine anyone going through. Oops. The sun is setting.
I can see that beautiful sun there. So I'm going to play a game of word association before we let you go here. When you think of, just think of the first thing that comes to your head.
Uh-oh.
Eric Brady.
Trusted friend.
Laura Lee Bell.
Trusted friend.
Tracy Bregman.
Great trusted friend too. These are all people that at one time or another, just like Christoph did for you, picked me up. And hopefully I've done the same for them. What?
Christian LeBlanc.
Clown.
Oh my God. True that. Melody Thomas Scott.
An enigma. She is incredibly sensitive. She is super, super smart. And she has a knack of saying the right thing that is incredibly helpful, disarming, kind of like Jeannie Cooper did. That they'll make a suggestion in an oddball way so you can actually hear it.
Trisha Cass.
Sweetheart. She's another one that's had a pretty tough year.
I honestly, even just the dynamic thing is, I was always shocked is how Paul and Nina never fully came together as a couple. I always just felt that there was something there that was more of a chemistry than cricket.
There was a writer change, or we had such consistency for like 27 years with Bill, and then if you count the executive producers and head writers, I bet you we're in the double digits. in less time period, which is a tough thing to do.
Your biggest inspiration as an actor?
That changes, but I think the one that's held on would have been probably Cary Grant and Paul Newman, those two.
As I said, man, to me, I'm all the fans watching. I'm crowning him now. The official Paul Newman of daytime will be Doug Davidson's name for the rest of his career. So make sure you hashtag that. So for yourself, in the sense, number one, like what are you to me for yourself, like do you have any goals and things that you still feel that you want to attain, not only as an actor but just in the arts itself?
I think the what I'm going through right now is really a rebirth, and a lot of those things are very painful. Somebody said they're going to their sons at the Juilliard School. Fabulous. And I don't know. My kids are grown. You know, the show for me isn't what it used to be. So I don't know. I'm trying to sort those things out. I honestly can't give you a solid answer and pinpoint. I think that there should be a law where everyone has to learn how to play golf. Because when you get to a certain point in your life, you need something that will take up most of the day.
And COVID definitely has made us all try to, you know,
Holy
navigate
cow.
and do anything to stay busy during these times, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like when you're so used to a routine like we go through in the business, and all of a sudden now you got all this time on your hands, and you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Like,
Yeah.
like just even staying. I mean, to me, there's only so many things you can do in a day to stay busy. And I think that's where I'm like, you know what?